Who are you? Are we enemies? Why am I on this wall? Where's Buttercup?
Let me explain. No, there is too much. Let me sum up.
Hello everyone, Kirby1 here, and today I'm going to go over a comparatively brief battle. We're just going to look at a minor skirmish between a pair of thugs from a middle-aged Pyrene and a gaggle of raiding camel riders from Naba, middle-aged Naba. And you'll notice that there's a lack of PD in here in this province, so it's just going to be the two of them duking it out between each other. That's just because there was a little bit of miscommunication between the two players, and one of the nations bounced off of the other, so that's how the battle is happening. Anyways, moving right along from that, all we've got here is one one Nabatean sheikh leading a bunch of camel riders, and their hawks as well that spawn in every battle. And we've got a pair of thugs from MA Pyrene, and the gear is slightly different on each of them. We've got one that has the greenstone armor as well as messenger boots, water breathing ring, ring of the warrior, and eye shield, and they're just using their built-in athame as their weapon. And the other one has thistle mace, flesh eater, and ring of the warrior, and water breathing ring, but no body armor, as well as a couple of nature gems. So they're going to be fitting in the same square, as you can see, because they're both size 4, and so they're going to attempt to script a complementary set of buffs. But as you can see, I will say attempt, and we'll start this battle on regular speed, because the hawks, as hawks do, will jump in and immediately kill the unarmored one. His first script was summon earth power right here, and so that wasn't enough to keep him alive with, I think it was 8 body protection, natural armor 4. Yeah, he probably didn't really have that much going on, and so he just got immediately nuked by these hawks. However, this one is probably going to last just fine, especially against hawks, not only because of his protection, but also because of his eye shield. And you can see a bunch of them are starting to lose their eyes already. Basically all of them have lost almost all their eyes. However, he only has one attack, so this is going to take a while unless we get a little bit of assistance from archer fire from the camel archers, because they'll be landing all over the place and probably pick off a few of the hawks. But now we're going to get into what happens and why this particular battle report is very, very interesting. We'll just go a couple of rounds, and you can see the arrows land in amongst them. Now the script for these camel riders is fire and keep distance, which means they're going to close in to get into range, just to, be able to shoot at them. And then they're just not going to shoot. They're just not shooting at anything. They're just there, keeping distance, but not firing. Meanwhile, the hawks are chipping away and blinding themselves, and the Ackerbelt is just poking one at a time, and because of his athame, just slowly healing. Every so often he's going to be able to get off script, so there's personal regeneration, and now he's definitely not going to die to whatever the hawks can push out. But the camel riders are still not doing anything. I put up the combat round up here just to see how long it takes, not only for this Ackerbelts to pick through these guys, but for these camel riders to literally just be doing nothing and just standing there. By the way, these glowy guys right here, it looks like they have a luck buff cycle. That's sort of the green glow that you get from luck. There's one there and there's one there. However, it is not that. As far as I can tell, the luck or the luck green glow from them is actually that one of the camels in this stack is cursed, whereas the rider is not. And for the other one here, you can see the camel is cursed, whereas the rider is not. And so that seems to be a distinguishing factor for them, which I wasn't sure if that is actually why they're glowing, but I can't really see anything else because none of the other camels and or riders seem to have any noticeable debuffs that would be something like that. But anyways, moving on from that, yeah, let's just go a couple of rounds. I think it gets to about round 60 before something finally happens again. You see some buffs going on. He's got temper armors and temper flesh. So there we are. And the archers start shooting again now. There were a couple of... this is a bit funny. But there were a couple of hawks left. But I don't know what the reason for starting to shoot up again at that point was. Whereas before they weren't. I've never seen this kind of interaction where archers are hesitant or stop shooting at somebody just because they're surrounded by something. In any event, as you saw just then, the camel riders do in fact manage to pull off their script of fire and keep distance and easily kite this Ackerbelts. However, I think kite was maybe too strong a word because they were shooting at him all right, but the arrows did absolutely nothing to him with his shield. You can see -1 +5 damage versus his armor plus temper flesh. So yeah, and he had regen. It did nothing. I don't think they even did a single point of chip damage the whole way down the battlefield. With all, what, like 40 of these guys just shooting at him. Anyways, he gets into melee now with the guys who have run out of arrows, and we get the same similar problem where he's still got an eye shield and he's very tough. So the camels are basically going to immediately start blinding themselves at the very least because they have very low magic resistance, whereas the riders can maybe hold out an eye or two for a little while. Not really. They've only got magic resistance 10, so but they do quite a bit of chip damage, and so they manage to break through and eventually kill him. So the battle is won by the Nabatean side, just barely getting to the Twilight, which I suppose if they had gotten to Twilight, all his buffs would have gone down and he probably would have died a lot easier. But in any event, there you go. That's what happened, and still don't know what the deal is with this. I really can't put my finger on why this happened, but I do think that it is an unintentional interaction between something. It might not even be the fire and keep distance script itself, because I've been toying around with it, and it's actually been a little bit of fun for things like this, where you just sort of put a stack of camel riders and then they kite people out of formation. But I think in this particular instance, just because of how the camel themselves and the riders hit, they probably would have just been able to kill this guy a lot sooner if they had just run in on maybe hold an attack or even just attack, and they would have been able to fire the whole way because they had the composite bow. At least I assume they would have fired the whole way. They obviously aren't firing now at this junction, but I don't know. So anyways, it was just too hard to try and describe this situation. I think it was one of those things where you had to see it to believe it, and just like stare blankly in confusion as to why these guys are just dancing around on the battlefield doing absolutely nothing for like 60 rounds. But it was fun to watch, and you know, at least the Nabatean player still won and picked up a couple items out of it. And to answer Mr. Dread Pirate Roberts' last question, here is Buttercup. I actually wanted to name the camel Buttercup, but as you can see, you unfortunately can't rename camels. But we decided to name the sheikh who slew those two Ackerbelts and led his troops to questionable victory to Buttercup. Thanks all for watching. I will have the Asphodel series back again for the next episode tomorrow. Have a good one.